Hi. So I'm sitting here outside the laundromat and waiting for my clothes to get done. And I'm thinking about all of the unbearable division between people that I've been seeing over the past year and a half or so, but it's really reaching a fever pitch right now. And people are dividing based on their beliefs, their political beliefs, mainly their beliefs about a virus, and their personal beliefs about what they should do on an individual basis to protect themselves from that virus or not. What risks they find appropriate or tolerable for them. And it's not just people being divided anymore. It's now it's governments coming in and saying, well, we're going to divide you. So if you don't divide yourselves, if you don't segregate yourselves, then, or if you don't take the approach that our experts recommend, then we will segregate you. So we have vaccine passports becoming a reality in many countries in the world, including France, Germany. And here in the United States, they can't really do that because of the Constitution. So they're having businesses do it for them, and schools and universities. Recently, my mother, who's 75 years old and has been waiting for a year and a half for her water aerobics class to reopen. It was closed down due to the pandemic. She got an email stating that they're reopening the class, yay! But you can't go unless you're vaccinated against COVID. And my mom can't get vaccinated for COVID. She has two contraindicating conditions that she and her doctor feel would make it an unnecessary risk for her. So she, called and talked to the instructor and basically found out that it doesn't matter why you choose not to get vaccinated. This is our policy. The aerobics class, the water aerobics class, is held in the pool of a local university. So it's the university's policy. And when she called and spoke to the instructor took it upon herself to try and persuade my mom to go ahead and get vaccinated. She said, well, I'm a cancer survivor and I got the vaccine and I'm fine. And I know somebody who went into an anaphylactic shock right after they got the vaccine, and they still went back and got the second dose. Okay, fine. I'm not trying to judge anybody for the personal medical decisions that they make, right? If you feel that the vaccine is a good choice for you and your family, by all means, go for it. But you have to recognize that not everybody is going to see it the same way that you do. And there are many reasons why a person might choose not to get vaccinated for COVID. One of them might be because they have some medical condition and their doctor advises against it or says, it's up to you, but there's a lot of risk here. Or it might be that they have had previous bad reactions to other vaccines and they don't want to take that risk. Or it might be that they're vegan and they don't want to take the vaccine because it's been tested on animals. Or it might be that they have a religious reason for not wanting to take the vaccine. Or it might be that they really don't trust Big Pharma, and can you blame them? And they don't want to put anything in their body that has been pushed by Big Pharma without years of evidence that it works and is not dangerous. They might just, be in one of the age groups that is extremely low risk. And so they say, well, I'm extremely low risk and I'm okay with taking on that minute risk of getting COVID, because even if I do get it, I'm at an even lower risk of being hospitalized or dying. Some people might say, well, my immune system has gotten me this far in life. I think I can trust it for COVID. So there's all kinds of reasons, why somebody might not want to take the vaccine, and that should be fine. And there's all kinds of reasons why somebody might want to take the vaccine, and that's fine. Why is it that all over the world, people are pitting themselves against each other on this issue? Both sides say they have the science on their side, And the fact is, I'm going to tell you the plain honest truth here, is that nobody knows. Nobody knows. This is a new virus. It's a new thing that we haven't dealt with before in the modern age with our modern medical technology. And it's undeniable that we've been told different things throughout this pandemic. Well, masks don't work. Oh, but actually they do. Oh, but actually they don't. Oh, but maybe we should wear them anyway, Certain drugs that are very cheap and not patentable, ironically, may go very far to helping people fight off the virus when they first get it. Respirators work. No, they don't. Yes, they do. Respirators kill people. No, they don't. The virus came out of China. No, it didn't. Yes, it did. No, it didn't. The virus came out of a Wuhan lab. No, it didn't. Yes, it did. The virus was caused by bats. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. So, to me, the only appropriate reaction to all of this is to look at it and say, I don't know enough about it to have a solution that will work for everybody in the world, right? All I can do is look at the data that's out there and listen to what people say about it. And experts, there are experts on both sides, even though the media doesn't want to admit that. There's no consensus of experts. The only way they achieve a consensus of experts for anything new like this at any time in history is to kick out the experts that don't agree and to threaten them somehow with the loss of their career or the loss of funding or, just being blacklisted. So there is no consensus of experts. There are plenty of experts who say that lockdowns should never have happened. There are plenty of experts who think that the vaccine is risky and experimental. There are plenty of experts who say that the vaccines are not being given with the requirement for informed consent, because people aren't being told enough about them, and there aren't enough studies to show, what they actually might do to us. But there are plenty of experts who say that the vaccines are totally safe and that they protect against COVID, or they at least protect against really bad cases of COVID and that they prevent spread of COVID. So fine. Nobody knows for sure. You can't force people to do something or coerce people into doing something that you don't even know is going to work. You know? I mean, you shouldn't force or coerce people to do anything, period. Consent, you know, consent is important, not just in sex, but in all areas of life. Like, why would you want to force or coerce somebody to inject a foreign substance into their body? And so it comes down to the fact that we have this huge fear-mongering, basically a fear generator, the media. You know, they're making people scared of each other. And they're even, you know, they're even going so far as to say, well, if you don't agree with me, if you don't agree with our experts, then you should be put into a camp, like a detention camp for people who refuse to quarantine, or, you know, they're already putting people into detention centers, or what are they calling them? Quarantine centers when they arrive in a new country, which is already kind of creepy. But to go so far as to say we want to put people into detention centers if they don't get vaccinated or don't quarantine, that's some fascist sounding shit. And if anybody, you know, has trouble thinking, you know, fully realizing what that means, already we're being segregated based on a difference of political belief or a difference of opinion about a virus. We're being taught to fear each other. One part of society is being encouraged to look at another part of society as vermin, disease vectors, scary, you know, whatever, scary, dirty, filthy individuals who can't be trusted and you can't be around them. So I have another story. My daughter, who has been a real trooper, she's 16 years old, and she's been a real trooper throughout all of these events. But she's been very isolated, and it's been very hard on her, as I know it has for many people her age, not to mention people of other ages, like elderly people. She's been isolated from her friends, and recently, you know, it seemed like we were coming out of it. Like, the vaccine was out, and everybody who wanted the vaccine was getting it. And so a lot of people were vaccinated, and they started to come out and not wear masks on their faces, and, you know, started going to events and gatherings again. And my daughter was really excited. She's a big extrovert, and she had a birthday coming up, so we had a birthday party, and all of her friends were there in one place, and it was for the first time in a year, and nobody was wearing masks. And there were vaccinated and unvaccinated kids at the party. And nobody thought anything of it. Nobody said anything about it, because this is really before the vaccination narrative started to take full effect in the media, right? At this point, we were just hearing little whispers and rumblings about, you know, how unvaccinated people can't be trusted, or you can't be around them, or whatever. But for the most part, I mean, the CDC had said that, you know, if you're vaccinated, you're safe. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about going out or anything. You can go unmasked, and we recommend that unvaccinated people wear masks. Fine. All right, so the party happened. Everybody had a blast. It was really fun. And here we are about a month and a half later, and my daughter can't get her friends to come hang out with her because she's not vaccinated, and they are. And she says, you know, well, why? I mean, if you have the vaccine, then why are you worried about hanging out with me? According to their science, I can't get you sick, right? And their answer is, we're worried about getting you sick. See, it's from the heart. It's compassionate. We've gone and gotten vaccinated, but we know now that vaccinated people can still sometimes carry COVID and spread it. And we're trying to protect the unvaccinated individuals by not ever hanging out with them, giving them hugs, saying hi, breathing in the same space as them, or having conversations. My kid is wrecked over this. She doesn't want to get the vaccine. She knows that if she gets COVID, her chances of even ending up in the hospital at her age and in her healthy condition are minuscule. Like a fraction of a percent. It's just an absolutely negligible risk. And she knows that the people in her family, the adults in her life, have made their own decisions about it. And we're not worried about getting sick. Her father and I, her grandmother, nobody's worried about it. We've made our own responsible decision. We've done our own research and heard what experts on different sides of the issue have to say and weighed out our own risk tolerance, and we are okay with the risk of getting COVID. But she's under a lot of pressure, to get the vaccine. And some of her friends, every time she talks to them, they're like, have you gotten vaccinated yet? When are you going to get vaccinated? It kind of reminds me of an evangelist religion, or kind of like Scientology. Okay, you have a belief. It's a belief that COVID is an extremely dangerous pandemic that is going to kill many, many, many people, more than, normal viruses, much, much, much more. And that the only way that it can be stopped is if everybody gets vaccinated. Every aspect of that is a belief. None of it is fact. And you believe it so strongly that you want to help, protect your family and loved ones. And I often say this about the religious, if you really believe that there's a hell, and anybody who doesn't accept your religious views, if everybody who doesn't accept those are going to spend eternity in a torturous hell, then the kind and compassionate thing to do is to try and persuade them to accept your religious beliefs so that they don't have to suffer through that. So, from the perspective of people who are very invested in this COVID narrative, they are doing the kind and compassionate thing by saying, okay, I really want you to get vaccinated because I'm concerned about your health. And until you do that, I can't be near you. It's like in Scientology when they say, all right, well, if you question Scientology or speak out against it, or, or don't accept it, or leave the Scientology religion, then you're a suppressive person and we can't have any contact. That's exactly the same. And it is you know, again, it's a belief. Now, some people will say that people on the other side act like they're in a religious cult. But, you know, I thought about it and I'm like, well, there are some people who disagree with lockdownism and who are skeptical of the vaccine. There are some groups within that, you know, there are some subgroups within that umbrella who have some kooky beliefs. I'll admit that. But the only thing that everybody on that side has in common is that they don't believe the primary belief of the other side, which is COVID is an extremely dangerous pandemic that can only be stopped if everybody gets vaccinated. So the only thing that's connecting all of these other people 100% universally is that they don't believe that. And a religion can't be founded on a lack of belief. So no, I think that the lockdowners, the vaccine adherents are behaving like a cult, and you have to take the sacrament and join us. Take the sacrament and be saved. Take the sacrament and be healed. Take the sacrament and be protected from the hell of COVID. Right? And man, it's kind of depressing because it's scary also. Depressing and scary. Well, it's depressing because, you know, we're seeing people, friendships are falling apart and families are, you know, falling apart and people are starting to hate each other over this. And it's ridiculous. And it's sad because we can't go back to, you know, whatever good things like made life worth living before all this shit, with everybody hating each other and at each other's throats and families, you know, torn apart and friendships destroyed over a difference of opinion about a virus. But also, this kind of division, this kind of segregation in society has been known to lead to some really bad things. And I don't know if a lot of people are really thinking this through when they say things like, yeah, I support a vaccine passport. It'd be easier. I'd rather go into the store and show a card that says that I'm vaccinated or an app on my phone. I'd rather do that than have to wear a mask all the time, right? Well, why not neither? You know? Just saying. But they're not thinking this through when they say, okay, yeah, everybody just has a vaccine passport and we show it when we go to the store and we show it when we go out to eat and we show it, you know, what this creates is a complete two-tier society where you have first-class citizens and second-class citizens. I can think of several major catastrophes, mass murders in our human history that started out just that way. You know? How is this not familiar? How is this not familiar to some of y'all? We need to, first of all, turn off the TV. You know, there is nothing good. You know, I don't have a TV, but when I went to my grandmother-in-law's house over Christmas, and she has the TV on all the time, and I went there, and this was late, well, it was after Christmas. It was like late December, early January. And the vaccine had just come out, first doses, right? People were starting to get it. But I sat and watched the news sometimes, and it was like, didn't matter if it was local news or national news. Everything, like every 3 minutes, everything was about COVID. And even if it wasn't about COVID, they would relate it to COVID somehow. Everything was COVID. And in addition to that, they were playing this weird, suspenseful doom music behind anything about COVID. That is fucking classic propaganda programming. You're being programmed. You need to snap out of it, okay? Turn off the TV. Go outside. Hug your friend. Stop thinking about it for a little while, you know? Obviously, if first of all, if you're vaccinated, why are you scared? Why are you worried about it? If the vaccine protects you and another person in your life has made their own choice not to get vaccinated, you're not at risk from them not being vaccinated, right? They may be at risk from you, but they've made their own choice. And they are free, sovereign, responsible human beings who can make their own choices. They're not putting you in danger. They're not dirty. They're not disease vectors. They're not filthy, subhuman. You can go spend the day with them. You can go out to eat with them. You can give them a hug. Stop worrying about it. So I had an idea. I think that there are a lot of people on every side of the economic, political spectrum who kind of are sick of this shit. They are sick of the division and sick of the political back and forth and how everything has to be made about COVID and everything has to be, us and them, us versus them. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, a libertarian, an anarchist like myself, if you're a Green Party member, an independent, totally apolitical, I don't care if you're a Christian, I don't care if you're an atheist, you're a capitalist, a socialist, or whatever. There are people in your political affiliation who think this is bullshit. I promise. They don't say anything about it because everybody would people would descend upon them and treat them like pariahs if they said that they disagreed with it. So I think that what needs to happen is a big show of unity across political spectrums, across ideologies, across all of these divides. Not unity like, okay, we now agree about everything and we're gonna do all the same, we have a plan moving forward where everybody agrees on it. No, obviously not. We don't agree about anything. And you know what? That's what makes life kind of cool. That's what makes it special, right? Because we're all unique and we have different ideas and experiences and feelings about things. And it would be boring if we didn't. But I was recalling an event that took place back in 1989 when the people of the Baltic states, who were at that time behind the Iron Curtain under Soviet rule, got together, 2 million of them, and stood in a long human chain holding hands along the side of a highway connecting all 3 countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And they were standing against Soviet rule and for their right to each country's sovereignty, national sovereignty. They were standing for freedom. And they were saying that we stand together, we're united. They probably disagreed about everything else, but they agreed that they did not want to be ruled by this tyranny, that had ruled them for years and years and years, right? So I think it's time for something like that. I think we could do it in the United States. I think it can be done worldwide. Here's my idea. And I did some math, right? What about Highway 40? It goes from North Carolina to California. Passes through, let's see, North Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. 8 states. It passes through 8 states. And it's like 2,550 miles long, something like that. I did some math and figured out that about 9 million people could stand holding hands along Highway 40. And what if everybody who disagreed that we should all be against each other, and everybody who thinks that we should be able to go back to, you know, friendships, having friendships and family relationships, and not being at each other's throats or hating each other or thinking each other are vermin because of a difference of opinion about a virus? What if all of those people came together and held hands along the side of Highway 40? Could we reach from coast to coast? Are there 9 million people in the United States who feel that way, regardless of political affiliation? You know, regardless of what they think about the vaccine? I'm sure that we could get 9 million people, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Independent, Green, Anarchist, Christian, Atheist, Muslim, Jew, Buddhist, Hindu, vaccinated, unvaccinated, to say, yeah, fuck this. We are cool with each other. And what a statement that would make. Maybe 9 million is a little bit, you know, ambitious. I'm sure it is. I'm not an organizer. I've never organized anything in my life. I'm really unorganized, disorganized. And, you know, it's just an idea. But, you know, if 9 million is too ambitious, you know, if from North Carolina to California is too ambitious, what about 1 mile? Maybe about, 3,500 people, give or take, could stand shoulder to shoulder over the length of a city mile. You could do this in your city, in your downtown area, you know? You could do it in every state in the country. You could do it in every country in the world. You could say, we are standing for freedom, and we are standing for mutual respect, and we are standing for unity against these authoritarian forces that are trying to divide us. We refuse to be divided based on our opinions about a virus. Maybe some of you out there who are better at organizing things can take this and run with it, but I just think it would be really powerful, and I think it could really turn things around. Those are my thoughts for this evening. I hope you all have a warm and happy night or day or whatever it is where you are. Peace out.